Mullumbimby is a popular and well-known part of the Northern Rivers, its nickname being the biggest little town in Australia. It is home to the Bundjalung people.
Mullumbimby is an Aboriginal name. The standard belief is that Mullumbimby stands for small round hill. Mullumbimby started because they were looking for red cedar. The cedar was cut and then it was floated down the Bruns. The timber mill moved here from Byron Bay when the railway came through. And the railway came through in 1894, but it also brought a huge sawmill in Mullumbimby, and that was the mainstay of employment until the 1960s.
Mullumbimby was gazetted in 1881, and that's when a survey came in and laid the town out. Following that, land, or known as selections, were given out by the government for agriculture.
They came to set up farms, and that's when the dairy farmers came. You had to be a dairy farmer if you wanted a loan, because that's all the bank would give you money for, to be a dairy farmer.
Prior to the First World War, bananas were also grown here.
So a lot of the farmers who used the flat land for their dairying then leased the hills for the bananas. They all started to fail in the 1960s, so a lot of them left.
In the 70s, these industries were forced to move out elsewhere. Their land was bought by who we now know today as the hippies.
In the 70s, a group of people came along looking for some cheap land to start a new society, and that was when the hippies moved in. And they came and they bought up a lot of the old farms.
That influx helped Mullumbimby and the area's economy a lot.
So why we're proud to be the biggest little town in Australia.
Their main big influence too was on protesting, where so many of the local hippies went over to Terania Creek for the forest protest. So, and there has been that protest culture sort of continuing. The hippies, when they came to Mullum, they were the ones who started off Santos.
They brought health foods and alternative medicines with them.
It also had a sunflower cafe, and the cafe was the first hippie cafe.
We don't need you to turn our little world inside out.
So Mullumbimby was a municipality from 1908 to 1980. The council people decided, no, you can't run it anymore. We'll now have to join Byron Shire. So it then became part of Byron Shire in 1980.
The town has multiple examples of historic architecture.
Mullumbimby has some beautiful old buildings. One of them, of course, is the museum, which was built as the post office in town.
Burring Bar and Stewart Street have a number of interesting old buildings. The old banks and the favourite social place, the Middle Pub.
Another really old, interesting building in Mullumbimby is the courthouse buildings and the police station. They've all been built in the early 1900s. Probably the oldest house that's been lived in is the station master's house, which is on the railway line just opposite from the railway station. It would have been built about 1893.
Towering over the town is the iconic landmark of Mount Chincogan.
Mount Chincogan is Mullumbimby. When you drive in the driveway from the highway, so many people say, I'm coming home. And they call it, Mount Chincogan is coming home, because it is very iconic in all the photos. Mount Chincogan didn't actually qualify as a mountain. It was just that little bit short, so locals put all rocks on top so that it would qualify. It's an recognised Aboriginal site, yeah.
In 2022, Mullumbimby faced its worst floods ever. Homes were destroyed, businesses and shops underwater.
This last flood was the worst flood Mullum's ever had. So I've gone back through and looked at all other floods, and this is by far the worst flood. The community just showed so much strength with each other and helping each other in that. And it is taking a long time to bounce back.
The community brought strength and perseverance into coming together and cleaning the town. You wouldn't know it walking down the street, but the town was over 10 feet underwater. Mullumbimby's unique energy, landscape and community spirit has continued to thrive, and uphold its name as the biggest little town in Australia.